starting a series because we've been really pushing the GTL. Annual enrollment just ended, and I think this is a time where you really don't miss out and capitalize on calling your clients and letting them know, did they receive their card in the mail, did they get their package, and there's some additional benefits that can be added for their protection of gaps or concerns they may have. GTL has a great number of products. So what we're going to do is just have Dimitri jump on and just do a quick training on product. Today is the Advantage Plus. We've been selling it forever. It's a dynamite product. It goes great with Advantage plans, but it's also great when you're calling leads and trying to book appointments, and you always hear, well, I'm all set. I already have a Humana, or I already have a United Healthcare Medicare Advantage. Thank you. You can't help me. And we're in lockout. Probably 99% of those people don't have the Advantage Plus, so at least it's a good talking point. So I asked Dimitri if he could just jump on and start doing training. Dimitri, thank you much, man. I will let you take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dimitri Simos, sales manager here at GTL. So what we're going to do today here is, we're going to talk about a little about GTL. We're going to talk about Advantage Plus, the hospital indemnity plan, which has been a great success for GTL. So when you're thinking about copays and such, like hospital confinement, maybe outpatient surgery, skilled nursing, cancer, or ambulance, you definitely want to make sure you're talking Advantage Plus with your clients. So let's get right into this, because I think this is the part you guys are going to probably be most interested in, is that, during an MA appointment, you want to make sure that you have your scope of appointment signed. Your scope of appointment form does have hospital indemnity typically listed on it. As long as you check that off and have your scope completed appropriately, you can talk about Advantage Plus at the same time as you're offering an MA to your clients. Now, honestly, would I tell you to sell the two plans at the same time, concurrently? No, I wouldn't. But as you're going through your outline of benefits for your MA plan with your client, and you're going through copays that they have on their MA plan, you're going to want to sprinkle some knowledge that you're going to talk about additional product with that client. And because at the time of the inpatient hospital care, people that you probably speak to are going to probably balk at $250 copay or $300 copay for 6 days. They're going to say, oh, my God, that's a lot. That's when you turn around and say to your client, don't worry about it, Mrs. Jones. That's okay. I'll show you how I can take care of that once I'm done going over this healthcare plan with you. Or, maybe it's an ambulance copay. You're going to say, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how I can take care of that for you. Or you're going to get to that radiation chemotherapy copay. Don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to take care of that. Skilled nursing, I'll show you how to take care of that copay. So we've got some of those big benefits there that will get your clients to the maximum out of pocket, and that's what you want to make sure you take care of, okay? Now, if you have a situation where you have a scope that doesn't have hospital indemnity on it, or something happened that you didn't do it at the time that you were supposed to do, you just got to wait 48 hours. And once you meet that cooling off period, then you can go ahead and talk about the hospital indemnity plan with your particular client. Now, the nice thing about Advantage Plus, it can be sold all year long. So like Eric said at the beginning, you're calling folks, that you find out that they have, an MA plan. Having an MA plan isn't a bad thing for your clients, because now somebody else did half the work for you. A lot of folks that you talk to that say they have an MA plan, and you ask them, did your agent show you how they can take care of the copay? By asking that simple question, and they're going to say, what are you talking about? That gives you your opportunity now to be able to talk to them about Advantage Plus. Not a lot of agents out there, unfortunately, are cross-selling and offering additional benefits to their MA clients. So this is a perfect opportunity for you guys to be able to talk to folks, hear what they say, and then say, here, I got an opportunity for you. I got a product that can help you with your copay. It's great. It gives you an opportunity now. Now, where's your other opportunity in this scenario? Your other opportunity is that person tells you they have an MA. Great. You set up an appointment to take care of that copay scenario. But what happens next year during AP? They're going to want to talk to you because you helped them out with their copay scenario. So you're going to be able to pick up that client for an MA. So now you've generated commission from the Advantage Plus sale, and then next year you're going to be able to get that client's MA business also. So that's a win-win, obviously, for everyone. How do I start this Advantage Plus crafting of a program for the client? Well, it's very simple. I got two questions I need to ask for off the bat that I want to make sure I take care of for the client. One is, how many days do they have for their hospitalization? Is it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever that day is? We know we can get that covered because our program is going to have a 3, 6, 10, or 21-day benefit period that you can choose to offer to your client. Now, the way that the benefit periods work is that if your client goes in the hospital for 10 days, they use up all their benefit periods, right? Once they're out of the hospital, that's when the clock starts. If they're 61 days or longer out of the hospital, that's when they're getting a brand new 10-day benefit period. There's no limit to how many times that benefit period will restore. I will tell you, I'm a big fan of doing a 10-day benefit period. I think the cost difference between a 6 and a 10-day is so small that it's not even worth talking to 6-day because, first of all, 10-day I like because I don't know what's going to happen next year. Yeah, your copay might be a 6-day copay today, but next year it might go to 7 or 8. I don't want to play that game of having to make adjustments for 1 or 2 days changes. By having a 10-day, I'm going to be able to account for a lot of what might occur in that MA market. And also, what happens to your client if they get hospitalized for 8 days? They're going to have a 6-day copay. So what if they're in there for an extra 2 days? For extra 2 days they don't have a copay. We'll still pay them for a full 8 days that they're in the hospital. Doesn't matter if they get that copay or not. This is indemnity products, so they're going to get paid for being in the hospital for their 24-hour periods. So that's really nice, I think. I think that makes a lot of sense. Another thing that can make a lot of sense is that sometimes folks might get hospitalized for 4 days. Okay, great. Go in the hospital, they get taken care of, they get discharged. A month later, they go back in for another 5 days, let's say, for a different scenario, right? So now what's the total amount of copay that they have for that period of time? If I take 4 and 5, I'm going to add that up to 9, right? That's 9 days worth of copay that client's going to have to pay. And the thing is, see those bills and see those copays that they're going to have to pay for 9 days. What do you think they're going to say? Hey, Dimitri, you told me my copay was 6 days, because they probably forgot about the restoration period and all this other stuff that you do tell them, but they're going to now forget. Now you're going to say, well, don't worry about it. You got Advantage Plus. You got 10-day benefit period. You're going to get 10 days worth of 9 days worth of benefit period paid out at Advantage Plus. And then once they're out after the second confinement, once they're out for 61 days or longer, then they're going to get a brand new 10-day benefit period. So there's a lot of positives, I think, in having a 10-day benefit period versus trying to match it up, 5, 6, 7, with a 6-day benefit period. Hopefully, it's up to you though. You guys have to talk to the clients. So whatever is best for your situation that you're dealing with. Second question is, what's their daily hospitalization copay? Is it $250, $300, whatever the case may be, right? We can take care of it from between $100 to $600 per day of benefit. Now, the minimums are going to be different depending on which benefit period you choose. If you choose a 10 and 21-day benefit period, the minimum is going to be $100 to $600 per day. A 6-day benefit period will be $250 to $600 per day. A 3-day benefit period is $350 to $600 per day. You can choose these benefits in $10 increments, so you can really dial it into where your client's budget can really handle the complimentary sale. Now, as part of the base plan, there's going to be an emergency room benefit, which will provide $150 for emergency room if admitted to the hospital within 24 hours due to an injury. There's also a mental health benefit, which is $175 per day, up to 7 days, if confined for a mental health condition. There's a lot of moving parts in the insurance business in general, right? Just make sure when you're talking about our hospital indemnity plan that you're talking about the plan that's available in the state of residence of your client. So you make sure you want to look at if you're an Indiana agent normally and you're crossing over the border into Illinois, you want to make sure you have the Illinois form so you can talk the rates and the riders that are available in Illinois. Because sometimes even in that scenario there, it could be different from one state to another, where maybe one rider is not available where another rider is, or one benefit period is available where another isn't. So just make sure you use the state appropriate forms for the resident state of your particular client. So one of the neat things that we do offer with our Advantage Plus program is that outside of the 3 and 6 day benefit periods and 10 and 21, we offer a benefit can be payable with just as for as little as 12 hours of hospitalization for your particular client. So if your client gets a 3 or 6 day benefit period, they can get a benefit after 12 hours of being hospitalized. On a 10 and 21 day benefit period, it's a 24-hour hospitalization will trigger 1 day's worth of confinement, okay? But guess what? I can change that. By adding a short duration stay rider, which I'll go over for a little later on here in the presentation, how it actually works, I can make that into a 12-hour hospitalization. They can trigger a benefit for your client. Something you need to know, okay? So what does a benefit period represent or cover? So if somebody has a 6-day benefit period, they'll get 6 24-hour stays in a hospital. That'll take care of their benefit period, okay? So this is how a restoration can work. I know I went over it a little bit kind of conceptually, but sometimes visually it might help to understand it more completely. If I had a 10-day benefit period, I was in the hospital for 5 days, then I'm out of the hospital for 60 days, I'm going to get a brand new 10-day benefit period, right? Another scenario is that I get hospitalized for 5 days, and then a month later, I go back in for 5 days. I used up my full 10-day benefit period. I'm out of the hospital for 60 days or longer then I get a brand new 10-day benefit period. A couple different examples there of how that could work. All right, so is there anything else I really need to consider? I think I probably covered this answer, but I'm going to ask the question anyways. How long is the average hospital stay, do you think, for somebody that's 65 and older? How many of you, for those of you that answered 3 days, I'm going to go, kind of like a Family Feud style. That's not the right answer. 5.6 days is the average hospital stay for folks that are 65 and older. I know it's a little surprising, but that's what it is. You can look it up on the CDC website there. They'll tell you the same thing. About 5.6 days is the average hospital stay. Now the next question is that what percentage of the folks return to the hospital in the same year? 33%. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good percentage or shot of somebody going to the hospital more than once in a given year. I think those of you that have been in the MA market long enough are probably going to be pretty familiar with this next status or situation that occurs, and that's observation status. I'm sure over the years you've heard observation status, and most hospital indemnity plans out there do not cover observation as a form of confinement to be able to pay for a 1 day's worth of hospitalization for your client. But I bet you know what my answer is going to be to that. We can make your client happy because we treat observation status stays the same as a confinement. So if your client's in the hospital for a 24-hour period and the whole time they were under observation status or it was an observation stay, we'll still pay them their daily confinement benefit even though they weren't confined in the hospital. Think that'll make some happy clients? I think so. It works the same way even for when we're talking about the short duration stay, so when somebody can get a benefit from being in the hospital for 12 hours or longer. Now, again, I'll explain that here shortly. So this next slide here is a pretty neat slide. Kind of talks about some of the unique features that our plan has. One of them being is that we offer our plan as a guarantee issue from age 64.5 to 65.5. So that means that a client does not have to answer the first 5 health questions between this age band here. This is going to provide a good selling opportunity if you're in that turning 65 market. Even if you're offering Medicare supplement, why not offer your client $100 a day of hospital confinement benefit? Because even folks on Med Supp are going to go in the hospital. So why not be able to say to them, hey, you know what, Mrs. Jones, you can get this plan right now, guarantee issue. You have COPD, let's say, or you have some kind of condition. You're going to go in the hospital. Why not get an extra $100 a day each time you're in the hospital for other expenses that you might need to take care of? So you got some options here. Again, the rates are issue age rates. So if whatever their cost was at the current age that they offer the plan to, their pricing is going to stay the same, going forward, and the benefits are going to stay the same going forward. We have not had any rate increases since this product was developed in 2005, and we don't anticipate there to be any changes from a rate perspective going forward to existing policyholders, for years to come. We don't have an annual policy fee with our program. All we do is a one-time application fee, which is typically $20, depending on the state that you're in. But if if you do offer the plan in writing an application for a husband and wife, you can do that on one app. We don't have to collect 2 application fees in that scenario. All you would need to collect is 1 application fee. So you can kind of look at that as a little bit of a discount for a husband and wife applying for coverage at the same time. Benefits are paid directly to the policyholder. That's pretty cool. So it's up to the client what they can do, what they want to do with the money that they get for when they're hospitalized or if they get diagnosed with something, they get a lump sum amount for it. It's up to them. So that's a really neat thing about the Advantage Plus plan. All these little things here are all nice little closers or helpful product differentiators for the clients that they can get for when they get to purchase another plan. Let's take a look at a real-life example of what can typically happen to one of your insureds, right? So this is probably your average insured Brian. He's got a copay on his MA plan of $250. You talk to him about the Advantage Plus program. You want to take care of a $250 per day copay, but you're offering a 10-day benefit period. No problem there. It's going to be for the nice low premium of $25.54 per month. Now what happens if Brian goes to the hospital for 5 days? So he's in the hospital for 5 days. He gets a bill from the hospital for $1,250. If Brian's like most of your senior clients, $1,250 hospital bill is going to be a pretty big hit for most seniors, right? Financially wise. Well, because you offered them the Advantage Plus, they're not going to have to worry about this because they're going to send in the claim form. We're going to send them a check for $1,250. They're made whole. They're covered for $25.54 a month. Makes a lot of sense for your clients, I'm sure. I'm sure you guys are seeing that pretty simply right here. Because the question really is that what makes more sense financially for a particular client? Paying $25.54 a month or $1,250. So now another question that comes to mind when I'm thinking about hospital indemnity plans is that should the client buy a higher daily benefit than their current daily copay that they have today? What do you guys think that answer is going to be? I'm sure you're all shaking your heads, so I'm going to go ding, 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 for being a correct answer. And yes, your client definitely would need to. I would definitely offer them a higher copay than what they have today because again, things change. We don't know what the changes are going to be. We don't have that magic ball what the government's going to do, but would definitely get them a little something more. I tend to say $50 more than what they have currently. Should be pretty good buffer for your client for at least the next few years. So take that extra dollars that if they have a $250 today and you're offering them $300, and that's what they go with. Take that extra $50 a day, and you can take care of maybe some RX copays, or maybe they have to go buy something from Walgreens, or maybe they gotta who knows. There's a number of different things that can occur, right? So they have access to extra dollars to take care of some extra little things that they wouldn't have to pay for out of pocket with that. At the end of the day, I know a lot of folks ask me, well, because they have a $250 copay, does it have to be $250? No, absolutely not. It could be $200 if the client, if the client can only afford $200 of what the premium would be for $200 a day of benefit. Fine, just give them $200. That something is better than nothing. We're not required to, because it's an indemnity plan. As long as they're hospitalized for a 24-hour period, they're going to get whatever their benefit amount is chosen, no matter what their expense is. So when we're talking from a sales approach, all of us sell in a different way, right? We all have our own style. We all have our own way of doing it. Here's one style that has over the years been a pretty successful style. It's been offering the good, better, best approach. Why was that developed over the years? Well, because we knew and we know that most folks, when you offer them when you offer them three choices, they're either going to choose the middle choice or the best option. That's because nobody wants to be just good, right? So that's why offering a three-prong approach like this might make some sense for your particular client. Some folks might just say, hey, this is what I do for my client, or this is what I do for all my clients, and then they just pair, then they go with that from there. Or if that's too much for that particular client, they might pare it down a little bit. But either way works really well. But here's let's throw up a little bit of a example of how that good, better, best could work for particular clients. So I know you guys probably, as you talk to a lot of folks, I like this. My MA has a premium objection. You get a lot of folks say, yeah, you know what, I got a premium, I'm already paying. But yeah, you're still paying an out-of-pocket benefit, for even if you have a premium. Just because you're paying a premium doesn't mean your hospitalization copay goes away, or your radiation chemotherapy goes away, or your ambulance copay goes away. The only thing that happens when you're paying a premium typically is that you might have a lesser copay number of days, or you might have a lesser copay amount, but you still have to pay a copay. I love it. Again, I love it when I see premium as an MA, and then I know file that away in my back file here, because next year when AEP comes back around in that same county that I'm in, I got a client that I knew had paid a premium, and now I know there's a zero premium plan that just came out this year. Let's say I know I'm going to be able to talk to that client and offer him a zero premium plan and be able to talk, hospital indemnity too with that. So, having a premium shouldn't be a difficult objection to overcome, because ask the client, yeah, you're paying $30 a month, but what happens if you're hospitalized, for 5 days at $200 a day? Can you does $1,000 be an issue for you? So those are some of the things that you can overcome with the objection. But I'll show you some other things that we can look at when we're talking about objections, because we do offer some other nice little riders that are going to be a nice add-on for your clients. With this slide here, if you have an MA plan with a $200 copay for an ambulance and a $250 hospitalization copay, if they use that ambulance, which most folks are using the ambulance to get to the hospital, they're going to have a copay right off the bat of $450 for being in the hospital for 1 day. If you're to cover just the ambulance amount and the $250 hospitalization with the Advantage Plus, the annual premium for that is only $319. So the question really is that what makes more sense financially to the client? Paying $319 and knowing that if you're in the hospital even for 1 day, you're making out much better than not. Because most hospital stays, we know on average are 5.6. So are you paying $319 annually, or would you rather pay the $1,250 of a copay, to take care of your hospital bill? Just food for thought, guys. The riders. I think riders is really what makes this. The product alone as a base plan is solid, no doubt about it. But I think this is really where the riders are going to sweeten up the product and make this a really nice plan to have in addition to their MA plan. We have an ambulance rider that's available. Okay, the ambulance rider provides a $200 benefit, $2,500 lifetime amount that gets paid out. It's payable 4 times per year, and it's really a nice product. Really, it's very inexpensive. Also, it's about $4.20 per month to add on this ambulance rider. As you can imagine, the ambulance rider here, the way it works, ambulance to a hospital, you get paid $200, right? You don't have to be confined to the hospital to get this benefit like other ambulance riders that are out there. As long as they use it to go from home to the hospital, they're going to get $200. Okay. Now let's say they're in a hospital. Now they got to get moved from one hospital to another medical facility. They may be eligible for another $200 there. So now for that health event, they could have gotten $400 back from just the ambulance benefit rider itself. So we've been doing this for 12 years. I'm sure you've tired of me saying that, but we've had the product out for 12 years, and one of the things that we have done over the 12-year period is we've learned about what is it that's it's good about the MA world, what's bad about the hospital world, and so forth. And one of the things that we've learned that was kind of problematic for clients was that they would be in a hospital and then they would be discharged at 21, 22 hours, somewhere in that ballpark, 23 hours. That wouldn't meet the definition of being confined for a 24-hour period. So what we did was we created a short-term duration rider. And that's where the short-term duration rider, if you have a 3 or 6 day, it's automatically part of the pricing on the 3 and 6 day plan. That's where you can trigger a benefit after 12 hours of being in the hospital. So if you add this now to your 10 to 21 day benefit period, you change that 24-hour period of being hospitalized to a 12-hour period of hospitalized. This is how we're doing that. And so instead of having upset clients with about not being able to get a benefit because they're only in the hospital for 19 to 23 hours, or 12 to 23 hours, I should say, now you're going to have a happy client, because now we're going to be able to pay them at least one confinement benefit if they were in the hospital from 12 to 24 hours. Your client, it would be ecstatic, I'm sure, to know that they're going to at least get some kind of benefit. The nice thing here about this is that this short duration stay rider is so inexpensive that I would tell you don't even ask your client to have it be an option if you're doing a 10 to 21 day benefit period. just add it in automatically and let them know that if they're hospitalized for 12 hours or longer, they're going to get at least 1 day's worth of daily confinement benefit. And this way, it's so inexpensive that it's somewhere from like 60 some odd cents per month. I've seen it to about $1.50 per month in cost. It's all going to be depending upon what your daily confinement amount is, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. I think it's going to be very reasonable to be able to just add it in there for your particular client. So cancer. I know many of you probably have sat through cancer conversations, talking about cancer products and so forth. Why is cancer important from an MA environment? Cancer is important because radiation chemotherapy copay is 20%, which gets applied to the max out-of-pocket. Max out-of-pocket is somewhere in the ballpark of about $5,000. If that's the case, you know that if a client gets diagnosed with cancer, they're going to meet that max out-of-pocket exposure. And why not take care of that for your particular client, right? We got some statistics up here, which you can definitely use to be able to help, just bring the importance of light to the client. But I think the conversation by itself of saying you get diagnosed with cancer, you're going to hit $5,000 no matter what is going to be pretty strong evidence on its own. But just know though that 50% of the folks that get diagnosed with cancer have $5,000 or more in medical debt during their treatment, or folks. How do they take care of the out-of-pocket expense that they have with cancer? They get out of their savings account, assuming that they have some type of savings account, or they might put it on their credit card. How many folks want to put $5,000, have 18-20% on their credit card? I don't think many of us want to do that. Or they might reduce their discretionary spending or borrow money from folks and so forth. So the cancer part I think is such an important component to the protection for MA. That when I would tell you that when you're talking about your MA plan with your clients, it's talk about the daily confinement, add an ambulance rider. I think lump sum cancer has to be something that gets talked about every single time. Now, if your client doesn't want it, or if the premium gets to be too high, that's okay. At least you're offering it, trying to offer them the best solution possible. But invasive growth spreading cancer is a covered condition, so you can choose from $2,500 to $20,000 of benefit. Also, part of the lump sum cancer rider is a cancer in situ payout. So if you're wondering what cancer in situ is, it's an early stage cancer which has not spread to surrounding tissues or organs. That payout is 25% of their cancer benefit. So it's paid in addition to their lump sum amount that that they're going to get for growth spreading cancers. Also, pretty neat benefit here, skin cancer benefit. That's your basic skin cancer. Then when you go to a dermatologist, they say, "Oh, we got to freeze this off." It's basal cell squamous cell skin cancer. Very, very, very easy to treat. You can get a $500 benefit payable one time per year, but 3 times over the life of the rider. Very nice benefit. Now, when I'm talking lump sum cancer rider, I'm talking $10,000 as my benefit. Why do I talk about $10,000 as a benefit? Is because I'm assuming that let's say my max out of pocket is $5,000. I don't have any control when someone's going to get diagnosed with cancer, but I do know that if your diagnosis happens in the latter part of a year, that it's probably going to run into the following year, and that I know my MA is going to reset my max out of pocket for that following year. So that means I'm going to have to pay out more money to meet my max out of pocket that I'm going to have with my MA. So if I have a $10,000 plan for cancer diagnosis, then I'm going to have dollars available to help me at least take care of two out-of-pocket maximum scenarios that could potentially happen. Hey, if I get diagnosed with cancer right now at this time of year, I get treated and I go into remission, I'm fine. I only have to deal with one max out-of-pocket. Great. I keep the extra $5,000, do whatever I want to do with it, whatever the case may be. It's up to the client to have to do whatever they want. I'm not going to sweat it, right? But they're going to probably find some good uses for that extra $5,000 to help them with the treatment of their cancer, I'm sure. We also offer a recurrence benefit rider. This recurrence benefit rider is, I think it's pretty neat. What it does is that I get diagnosed with a growth-spreading cancer. I get paid my $10,000. Then I continue on. After treatment, I go into remission. That's when the clock starts. After a year remission, it builds back up to 10% of the original value. After years 2 or 3, 25%. Year 4, 50%. After 5 years of being in remission, I'm going to restore back to my full $10,000 of value. So I get diagnosed with cancer again, after 5 years. Guess what happens? I'm sure you guys are all wondering. There's no need to wonder. You know the answer. You're going to get $10,000 of benefit back again if you get diagnosed with the same or a different type of cancer. So it's a really nice rider, and it's a very affordable rider also to add on. Also, we also have a rider that's available that's a dental vision rider. We have an annual benefit from $400, $800, $1,200. In the first calendar year, you got to make sure when you see this wording here, it's a calendar year. The calendar year, we have a $100 deductible, 80% of actual charges. So 80% of actual charges. What does that mean? That means we don't have a network. You don't have to go see a particular person. We don't have a schedule of any sort. It's whatever the client's bill is, will pay off of their bill, 80%, and so forth. Now, in the first calendar year, we do pay up to 50% of the maximum benefit level chosen. So 50% of $400, $800, $1,200 will be available. Now, in the second calendar year, $100 deductible is in place there still, 80% of actual charges, but the 100% maximum benefit level chosen is going to be available for your clients. Now, if I had a client that purchased the Advantage Plus program and added the dental vision rider on November 1st, because I want to make sure I understood that calendar year, January 1st, which was 2 months later, I would be considered to be in my second calendar year, so I would have had 100% benefit level available at that point. So just make sure, when you see some of these riders, this rider in particular, you want to make sure you understood that what calendar year really was. Preventative care benefits. After a 3-month waiting period, you can get up to 75% of preventive dental benefit. It's one per year, up to $50 for one basic eye exam or refraction per calendar year. Now, it's important, $100 deductible does not apply to this preventative care benefits here that you see on the screen. Now, after a 6-month waiting period, you can do fillings and root canal treatment up to the rider maximum, and then per calendar year, and then the insured percentage. There is a $100 deductible when it comes to the fillings and root canal. Then there's also a $200 for prescription eyewear or contact benefit. Okay. Now, again, there's a $100 deductible. It does apply for this also. Now, after 12 months, the biggies you can get covered, right? The bridges, crowns, full mouth extractions, fluoride treatments, and all that good stuff. This is all available after a 12-month waiting period. Now, the only time that we'll waive the 12-month waiting period is that if somebody needed a repair for their bridges and dentures, we would waive this due to an injury. So if they injured their bridges or dentures, that would get waived. So then that's the only time we wouldn't be a 12-month waiting period on it. But so a nice little way here to take a look at how the dental vision rider looks or how it can work. If I were to add up the known benefits I can get out of the plan year in, year out, that would be $75 for preventative dental exam, $50 for basic eye exam, $200 preventative eyewear. If I were to add that up, that's $325. At $65, $1,200 benefit level, the client would be paying $443 a premium, but I know I'm getting $325 out of the plan, so my net cost really is $118 a year or $9.83 a month. Look at the same thing for an $800 benefit level. Net cost is $59 or $492 per month. $400 benefit level. Guess what? We're paying them $6 annually to have this dental vision rider in this example. Now, some additional riders that are going to be available for the Advantage Plus is a lump sum hospital rider. So in addition to the daily confinement amount, they would be able to get either $250, $500, or $750. This does restore the same as the base plan does. So if they're out of the hospital for 61 days or longer, this will restore to be able to pay out again their benefit level chosen. So as the example shows here, if I had a $250 confinement and I had a lump sum of $500, if I was hospitalized for 1 day, one 24-hour period, I would be able to receive $750 for this example. We also offer an outpatient surgery rider. This outpatient surgery rider is not for MRIs or X-rays. This is for outpatient surgery. So if somebody had cataracts surgery done, they'd be able to receive their benefit amount. This benefit amount is payable 2 times per year. Skilled nursing rider. This is the other rider that I like a lot. I think this rider makes a lot of sense also in addition to the cancer, because we're going to be taking care of the max amount of pocket. If I were to do my simple math, my payable days are days 1 through 50, right? So if I take 50 and I times that by 200, that's going to give me $10,000 of benefit that's payable out of this rider. If I was going to get 150 payable for 50 days, that's 7,500, or 1,000 or 100 times 50, that's 5,000. Any one of these three examples here will take care of most of the max amount of pocketed plans that are out there. You know, I like the $150 per day of benefit because I know that $6,700 is the maximum that's in the federal regs. So why not get my client 150 so that this way I know I'll take care of any kind of max amount that'll be out there for years to come. This rider does restore if the insured is out of the hospital out of the nursing home for 61 days or longer. So if I'm going to surmise here what I would offer my client overall, obviously daily confinement amount of $50 or more, and then what their current base plan is, what their current copay is with their hospitalization. I would give them a 10-day benefit period. I would definitely make sure I offered them at the minimum of $5,000 of lump sum cancer coverage, and I'd also even definitely look at looking at the skilled nursing rider. I think right there, and along with the ambulance rider and a short duration stay for the 10-day benefit period, I think right there I would look at giving me a nice little protection package for my client. You know, at the end of the day, I try to be somewhere in the neighborhood of between $45 to $65 a month. That's really where the product was designed to do, and that's about where our average premium is in that sweet spot. And it still makes this a very affordable option for your clients to have. So how easy is it to underwrite? Pretty easy underwriting here, guys. The simplified issue product, so it's a yes-no application. We don't do any MIB or phone interview after you submit the application. It's straight up off the application. We offer a guarantee issue window from age 64.5 to 65.5. The lump sum cancer rider is not available, but not under the GI guarantee issue rules. You always have to answer the question when it comes to cancer. If you're offering the cancer rider, those three questions always need to be answered. But they're simple questions. It's a 5-year look back, so there shouldn't be much of a problem with that. Well, we do have a 6-month pre-X on the plans, and but even though there's a 6-month pre-X, this is built to be able to pay out for day one protection for your clients. Okay, so for example, if I got this plan on Monday and I got it approved, and then on Tuesday I was hospitalized because of a broken hip, and I had, obviously I have no pretense I'm going to go break my hip on Tuesday. That's going to be a covered claim. Okay. The pre-X typically is a 6 months situation where 6 months prior to the policy being issued until 6 months after the policy being issued. Okay. Now that just means that for situations of stuff that I'm being treated for and known for prior to the policy being in effect, that's because I was treated for it 6 months prior to. I'm not going to be able to get hospitalized and have a claim covered until that insured is within the first 6 months. Now, if that person was being treated for something 6 months prior to policy being issued, and then 6 months and 1 day after the policy was issued, they were hospitalized for that, whatever that condition was, then that's a covered claim. The 6 months does apply to guarantee issue folks also, so just keep that into mind. That's it's something just to make sure that we kind of point out there. Guarantee issue applications. I think I mentioned earlier, this is a great opportunity to talk to some folks and get some sales, because there's going to be some questions that, outside of the guarantee issue window, clients might not be able to get coverage, with our hospital indemnity programs. So when they're between 64.5, 65.5, remember, we don't ask any questions. So even if it's something that would fall in the pre-X deal, doesn't matter, because at 6 months and 1 day after the policy is enforced, even if it was guarantee issued, they're going to be able to be covered for that, even if it was something that they wouldn't normally be able to get protection for. Okay, so it's just make sure you keep that in mind. Do we actually think that somebody that knows that they have some kind of health illness that that knows that at some point in the future it's going to cause them to be hospitalized, they're going to say, "Yeah, I don't want this." I don't think so. For those of you that have already written Advantage Plus with us, thank you. Appreciate the business. At some point, you might want to change benefit amounts or add riders to your client's particular plan. You can do that by using our application and checking off increased benefits. If you're adding a daily confinement amount and more to your clients, that's going to generate an additional policy for your client. Just know that the minimum is $50 per day. The medical questions must be answered and so forth. We will issue a second policy, but you don't need to do an additional application fee for adding benefits to your current clients. But you will get paid first year's comp on any kind of increase of benefits that you do put onto your client's policies. Submitting an application, completing an application, pretty simple, guys. Again, you can put a husband and wife on one application. They don't have to be like coverage because your husband and wife are going to get separate separate policy numbers. So you can do one thing completely different for a husband than you do for a spouse. And there's your health questions are right there, pretty simple. This page here is all you're doing here is telling us effective date, telling us what is it that you quoted and what the client wants, and what their monthly premiums are that you quoted. And then you do the replacement question here, have both clients sign for their respective policies. And then this is where you would sign. Make sure you put your writing number nice and clear here so that we know who to send commissions to. And then you make sure you sign that the clients sign their draft dates here, their drafting forms for EFT. And then you're good to go. Now, if you're wondering how you can quote this, well, you can quote this the old-fashioned way off paper, which I'm sure we all love to do, which I wouldn't recommend if you want to do quickness, right? If you're using your laptop for appointments, you can go out to our website at gtlic.com. Then click under Agent. You'll see where it says Download Software. Click on Advantage Plus. Download that onto your desktop that's Windows-based PC, and you'll be able to utilize our quoting software that we have available for that mode. Very simple. I love this way of quoting software because I can toggle real quickly between benefits, amounts, add riders, take off riders. Instantly give me updates on what my monthly premiums are going to be for that particular client. So it's very simple. I can also print out a quote so that I can leave that with the client if you choose to. Also, we have available is our e-app. We just came out with that probably a little over a year ago, I want to say at this point. It's available for Apple products and Androids. So if you go to the Google App Store or Play Store and you search for GTL e-app for your iPhone or iPad or your Android phone, you can go ahead and download that right onto your devices, and then you can quote and submit applications right on your devices. On these e-apps, all we want you to do, and you need to do, is quote it, do an application, and as you get to the signature parts, have your client sign with their finger or a stylus, save that signature, and then keep on moving through the app, and then submit it, and the policy will be issued within minutes. Very simple process, very easy to do. It's a very. If you have any questions regarding the e-app process, we do have some webinars that we've stored out on our web pages if you log in to our agent login, that'd be great. Now, we also have another way of being able to do an application through our website at gtlic.com. You log in using the same username password that you would use on the e-app programs here. Nothing changes. It looks exactly the same. The only difference between using our website-based e-process is that since we can't take signature because we're more than likely to be on the phone with a person, you just type in the client's name at every point where it says signature, and then you'll conference call a client in with our third-party verification service. It takes about 3 minutes to do a voice verification call. Once they drop off, you're done with that drop off, you can complete that. You can hit submit, policy will be issued. Very simple process. Again, very simple, just like an e-app here. hopefully we've done a good job as a company to give you as many different options as possible to be able to write business with GTL, between paper apps and then submitting those electronically via fax or email. You can email applications that you've completed by hand to our underwriting department directly at und@gtlic.com, or you can use our e-processes. Whichever way you want to do it, we're more than happy to try to accommodate and take care of that for you. You get quick policy issuance. If we get applications submitted to us by Thursday of a given week, it's typically issued by the following Wednesday at the latest. Now with Advantage Plus, an electronic platform, you'll get that thing issued within 5 minutes. So it's a very quick process. Now, what does the client going to get once you submit the application and get their policy approved? And its policy's approved, then they're going to get their information that they're going to get is a welcome letter from GTL. It's going to outline to them your policy is available 24/7, 365 on our website. They have the ability to go out there, log in, and be able to view their policy at any time. They'll also get a summary of benefits that you see in the middle part of the screen here, and then they'll also get a punch-out card that they can at least have a little card to put in their wallet or keep in a safe place in their home. So when they do get hospitalized, they know to call us, and we'll send them a claim form. Think about claims. This is how the claims are processed. Client calls GTL, customer service. We will send them out claim forms. First thing that they're going to see is a checklist. What is it they're going to need to submit to us so we can process their claim efficiently. Second page is name, rank, serial number, basically. What's their policy number and so forth. Third page is a HIPAA authorization. Now, if you guys want to be able to help your clients during the claim process, if you ever get to that point, you also would need to get a HIPAA authorization form signed by the clients and turned into us that it gives you saying that that I'm giving my agent authorization to contact GTL on my behalf. Normally, guys, I know this is a hassle, quite frankly, but because of HIPAA, we can't as a company give you specific information on what's going on with your client's health, and a lot of times with claims, there's a lot of health information that goes on there. So if you want to be able to help your client, get a HIPAA form signed off by the client, and we'll be more than happy to be able to give you information regarding your client's, what's going on with their client's health, or in terms of why the claim process is being held up. The last thing that we would need for a hospitalization is this little form called the UB04 form. This is the holy grail of our forms for when it comes to getting paying hospital indemnity claims. It provides all the information that our claims department needs. The hospital provides this to the insured. They can send that in with a claim form. The claims will get processed quickly. So hopefully during this time, I've been able to show that that the product on its own is a must-have for every one of your MA clients and should be presented 100% of the time. Not when you and I think that person might want it or might not want it. We need to be doing this 100% of the time. Let that client tell us no. What's the worst that's ever happened, guys? We heard no, right? How many times have we heard no in our lives? A zillion. What's another time? Not a big deal. But the positives about doing this 100% of the time is that you're going to hear a heck of a lot more yeses because you did it 100% of the time. When you try to pick and choose on who's going to say no or yes to it, your numbers don't add up. You got to do this 100% of the time because you're going to get a lot more yeses, and obviously we're much happier with those yeses. So do this 100% of the time. You're going to be happier. Your clients are going to definitely be thanking you because the guys that you thought that weren't going to purchase end up purchasing. The guys thought, some guys you thought this might be a slam dunk, don't want it. You never know. So you're going to help. This is going to be going back to your referrals and retention. This is what this is all about. You're going to get your referrals and retention because your clients are going to be happy. And you just make sure you ask for those referrals. The clients aren't going to sit there and say to you, "Hey, do you want referrals from me?" No, you just got to make sure you ask the question. Hey, who else do you know that I can help? Either show a hospital indemnity plan to, or may want to talk to me about what's going on with their health insurance plans. People are going to be happy to let them talk to their friends. And obviously at the end of the day, you're going to increase your commissions dramatically by doing this 100% of the time.